This is John Walton, and you're listening to the Power Play Point podcast with the Blue Liner on point and Anna Knox. Here's Wilson, and on the right side, he
Rebound loose, wild scramble in front, score! Ovechkin with a buzzer beater! It'll count!
And a hat trick tonight, number 21,
Spectacular! Braden Holtby!
Hello, welcome once again to the Power Play Point podcast. This is your host, the Blue Liner on Point, talking to you live to tape from downtown Glen Burnie, Maryland. And it's another week of Caps hockey. You throw out certain 24 hours that happened just 24 hours ago. Wasn't too bad. Joining us back again from a week off with family is the one and only mermaid Anna Knox.
Yeah, hey, Gil.
Hey, glad to have you back. How was the visit?
It was good. It was good. Thanks. When the family doll tries to get together at Christmas and it doesn't happen, and then all schedules get together. And
know it well.
It doesn't work out. Yeah. So it's all a little bit hectic. But,
yeah, just a little bit.
But it was good. It was good. And thanks, C4, for filling in.
Yep, absolutely. And understand. I think you mentioned to me during the week you're also going to need next week off as well.
Yeah. I don't think I've told you that we have gutted our kitchen.
The other week you mentioned a kitchen project that was going on. I think that's what Becca was in charge of.
Oh yeah. Sorry. Yep, and it's still going, except we are going to be in a hotel, and it happens to fall over that Sunday, Monday time frame of next week. And I figured, you know what? It's totally stressful enough that we all have to go, including the dogs. So I give you guys your 2-week warning to say I'm not available. But yeah, I mean, in the end it's going to be great, but it's hard to not have a kitchen. I got to be honest.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Just a lot of, and it's kind of stressing me out. It was just shit everywhere and stuff. You can't wash things. It's just. And this weather doesn't help. So, yeah.
Yeah. So basically, for however long that's going to be, hopefully not more than a week, you'll be incommunicado.
Correct.
Okay. Understood.
But I'm sure there's somebody who would absolutely love to fill in and hopefully talk about wins, since this week wasn't so great.
Yeah, hopefully so. Hopefully so. Yeah, unfortunately, I just got word that C4 is unfortunately also not available for that weekend. So the search will be on, but like you said, we have plenty of very knowledgeable, very capable Caps fans who will come on if need be. And I may have to. I may make a decision about that episode. I've been toying with an idea you just. I've been thinking about it, and you kind of reminded me of it a little while ago. So,
okay.
I might go that route, but whichever way we'll go, there'll be an announcement for sure. It's just been a lot going on here too, and just I'm trying to keep up with things as best as I can, but. Turns out I might need a week off myself. So
it happens.
I got a plan in place to make things easier on myself for a week, just a week. But we'll get to that when the time comes. So
alrighty, sounds good. All right.
So okay, might as well just go ahead and rip the Band-Aid off. Because it was an okay week, not a great week, but an okay week as far as the games go. We actually have 4 games to cover, and it was 2 regulation wins, 2 regulation losses. We're going to make the first of those games the feature game, so we're actually going to skip over that. And so the lone home game was the one against the Minnesota Wild. That was a 4-2 loss. And it was a back end of a back-to-back, and it was travel. So I think Cap started out okay. Faravari got the opening goal, and I think a lot of this was eventually fatigue, but just really bad puck luck. All 3 of the actual goals, not counting the last one, the empty netter, were just really bad bounces. I don't think Lindgren had a shot at any of them. And a couple of Caps fans out there were like, "Well, this is because Lindgren deserves to play more. He's not as sharp because he doesn't get as much playing time." I don't think it had anything to do with that at all.
No, I agree. Nope.
I think it was just really bad bounces. He couldn't see a couple of the shots. Stuff like this just happens in hockey, and he was screened on a lot of these. So what are you going to do? And it was a back end, and Minnesota was the stronger team, the fresher team, and that just took over towards the end. And this is what you get. And that's what happened in that game. And then came the game. They went back out on the road. And they're still on the road as we speak, but they went back on the road for their Western road trip, another Western road trip against Arizona. And that game was a pretty good one. They won 4-0, and it was in the all-new Mullet Arena. And if you were
What a name.
Yeah. If you're a follower of the Facebook page, then you got treated to some awesome pics from my good friend Pete Fisher, who was there.
Yep.
Of course, he's an ASU grad and lives in the area. So he attended the game. He had a seat, as it turned out, where the Caps defended twice behind Darcy Kemper. So if you follow the Facebook page, you're treated to some awesome pics and a cool video where a shot was taken and deflected and hit the glass right in front of where they were sitting. So if you haven't caught that video yet, it's on the Facebook page. Might have to swipe down a ways to get there, but it's on there. And
he was and Doug was out there too, right?
Doug was with him at the Vegas game.
Oh, okay. I saw their picture, but I didn't see the check-in. That's really awesome.
Yeah. My friend Doug Lucerarian joined him. They both went out to Vegas for that game, which we will very briefly go over. Anyway. But the Arizona game was a pretty good one. It was look, I get that Arizona's not exactly a good team, but they can surprise you, and they're actually pretty good at keeping the scoring down for the most part. That's one of the hallmarks of their game. But the Caps were, I think, they were a lot fresher. They were a lot more into this one than the last meeting that they had. Goal scorers in this game were Strome, who started it, 3:03 in the first, Milano with his 8th in the second period, Wilson his second on the power play. And a word about the power play. This is the only power play goal the Caps have scored in the last 8 games.
Yeah. That's pathetic.
I have a potential solution for a fix. We'll talk about that towards the end of the show.
All right.
But yeah, so Tommy gets his second of the year, and it's a nice tip on the power play. I love how Strome dove after it just in case it didn't go in.
I love Dylan Strome.
As it turns out, he would get his second in the third. That's his 11th. Kuznetsov and Johansson on the assists on that one, making it 4-0. Awesome game all around. Look, I know there's folks out there knocking the building and how small it is and how it's really just a college facility. I get all that, but everyone I've talked to who's been there raves about the place. and says it's a great intimate setting. It's a great place to be. And so I'm hoping next year I can get down there and check
nice.
it out. Because the players love it, the fans love it, and it sounds like a great place to be. So I would love nothing more to hook up with Pete and head down there next year like I said, to check it out, because it sounds great. I mean, I compare it to with the time I went up. I sorry, Anna, I know this is going to be traumatizing a bit, but the time we went up to Hershey and caught the game, and
Saw the game.
I saw the game. I was there. I saw the game. I was 4 feet behind Ilya Samsonov. I was there.
I thought you fell asleep.
Third period.
Mrs. Blue Liner interjecting again. Sorry.
No, but I was going to say, I thought you fell asleep.
No.
Okay.
No. I was there. I waited in the line to see the cup, and I didn't get there till about halfway through the game.
Okay.
Halfway
That's
through
what it
the
was.
game,
And she went to, okay. Yeah.
She went ahead and skipped the line and saw the whole game. I made it about halfway through, just right around the middle of the second period, and caught the second half of the game. And so anyway, it reminded me of being there from the looks of it. So I really want to check it out. I think it's a great place. And there, according to Pete, there's some nice, watering holes around the arena to, grab a drink and, eat, drink and be merry and all that good stuff. So, dearly love to check that out. And so I'm kind of making that hopefully a plan for next year to do that. Pete desperately wants to make that something of an annual event. So a nice long road trip for listeners of the podcast. So I'm kind of hoping that we can make that an annual thing.
Well, and don't you have, not next month, but next year, a big birthday?
I might.
Okay.
I
Just
might
saying.
be. And just saying. No need to get into details. But yeah. But yeah, you're right. That could be a possibility.
Just a
So
reason.
depending upon the schedule makers and their whims, it could be pretty good timing. So
Okay.
anyway, so that was that game. There's pretty good gameplay there. So all right, so you got two decent games. Look, I mean, the Minnesota game, I'm not going to throw out. I think they played as well as they could, and it was just a little bit of bad luck and some fatigue. What are you going to do? The Arizona game, pretty good. What you expect against a lower tier team. And then you had last night. I'm going to say two things about last night's game and leave it at that.
It sucked.
It sucked. And not my words, but a lot of other people's words. But yeah, if you don't know the result, you know it by now. It's a 6-2 loss. And the things I took away from it was, do you want the serious side or the funny side first?
Let's go serious and end it funny.
Okay. All right. Just like every episode we do. That's fine.
Exactly.
Okay. So what I did not like about this game, other than the score, was that basically all of the worst traits of the Washington Capitals were brought out in this game.
Examples.
Darcy Kemper was sharp until I would say about after the second goal. He kind of fell off, and they kind of knew it, and that might have been one of the reasons why he was pulled after the third or fourth goal. That's not the half of it, though. It was extreme mismanagement of the puck, terrible passing. They played like they did not care for, I would say, a good 3/4 of the game. They didn't show up. Almost no physicality until somebody decided it would be a good idea to pick on Nick Backstrom, and that woke everybody up for about 2 minutes. but horrible plays, sloppy passes, everything we abhor about the game, and it's giving up 2-on-1s, no shots, no fire, no energy, just like the video I posted, no fire, no energy, no pop, no nothing from the Fifth Element. And yeah, there's nothing else to say about it. All of the worst traits of the Caps that you can think of came out in this game. They didn't care. They didn't play like they cared, act like they didn't want to be there. And the team just didn't wake up until far too late in the game. And it's a 60-minute game. They played all of maybe, if they're lucky, 10.
Ouch.
So yeah, it was terrible because of all that. And I hopefully will never ever have to sit through anything like that again. So and okay, so here's the funny side. So hopefully, and you all see this coming. So hopefully though, it was given where it was. Okay, so as we all know, hopefully what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
Okay. That was your funny?
Yeah.
Gal, come on. I thought you were gonna I don't know, share something funny that happened during the game or something.
Oh God, no. What possible funny could have happened unless Doug's got a story he hadn't told me yet?
Yeah, well, no, I meant with you or while you were watching it or something. But
oh God, no.
Right.
No. This was this was like sitting through. Oh my God! Insert worst show ever here. And awful.
For me, honestly, just so I can throw this out there, my biggest pet peeve with any TV show is any kind of kid actor. And so therefore, if it's not a kid actor that I can't stand, it's a kid's baking show. Or a cooking show. I freickin' hate those shows. Hate those shows. So if I had to sit through an episode of, Young Chefs or whatever, and you're going to put it up against how they played last night, then I totally get that would have been cringeworthy and awful.
Yeah. So for you, if you had to sit through something like that, yeah, that's I totally get that. But
glad I didn't stay up.
Yeah, no, it was like getting a paper cut and having somebody pour lemon juice on it. It was horrible to watch.
Okay.
But being the fan that I am, I forced myself to sit through it. And again, hopefully what happened in Vegas, that pile of stink better stay in Vegas, because they got some games that are coming up here that they need to win.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
Especially on Thursday, because I'm going to be there.
Oh, and if you're not sure who we're talking about, it's Doug Lucerarian, another one of my old friends from school. He and Pete met up for the game, and I hope they did partake of some of the delicious libations they probably had there at the T-Mobile Arena or wherever, because I'm sure they needed them before, during, and after the game, especially after. So anyway, all right. So now to get to our feature game, which we both caught, and that was the first game of the week. It was Monday evening up on Long Island against the Islanders. And that, of course, was the 4-3 win. Let's do a quick rundown of the scoring. Looky here, an old friend. No, not really, but he has the same name, Sebastian Aho. Well, it's not that Sebastian Aho.
I know, but I just know how much you love the name.
Yeah, he's got a doppelganger, apparently, who plays in Carolina. That's the actual one we hate. Anyway, he scores the first goal, 4:24 in the first. And then Matt Martin gets one about 9 minutes later to make it 2-0. And we're thinking, oh God, here we go. Caps are falling behind. There's no way they're going to catch up. And they just didn't seem like they were into the game, and just kind of having a hard time starting and all that. And that's what I noticed. And
Well,
then
obviously, because they didn't do anything in the first period, and they don't score until halfway into the second. So
right, it almost exactly. So
yeah.
before that, the Islanders made it 3-0. A guy with probably one of the weirdest names I've ever heard of. Doesn't sound like a hockey name. Hudson Fasching. That
Yeah, I
sounds
know
like a cash. That sounds like a cash register malfunctioning really badly.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to sit on that one. I'm not quite sure what to do with the Fasching.
Hudson Fasching. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to do with that either. Anyway,
it doesn't. Yeah. Anyways,
whatever his name is, he gets his third of the year, and makes it 3-0. And we're thinking, this is going to be a colossal pile of dung. But then, just as you said, almost exactly,
a
pile of dung.
Pile of Fasching.
Very good. Very
Right.
good. Very, very good. Fasching. I think we need to add that. I think we need to add that to our show vocabulary.
He pulled
like
a Fasching.
I
or
like
a pile of Fasching.
Pile of Fasching. I like that. I like that a lot.
Right. You're welcome.
Okay. All right. So Garnet Hathaway gets his seventh, 10:01 into the second. So almost exactly 1 second past the halfway mark, to be exact, makes it 3-1. I love the effort. I think this kind of drove him. Now, well, what had happened before? There was a hit about several minutes before by Alex Ovechkin on Jean-Gabriel Pageau, and they actually reviewed it there was no call on the play to begin with, but it
was hardcore.
Yeah, they reviewed it anyway for a possible major, and they stuck with their original call, which was no call, wasn't charging, it wasn't a hit to the head. Now, I get that he looked bad, and there was an injury enough that he had to leave the ice for a few minutes, but he returned to the ice. And I know what you naysayers out there might be thinking. What that just proves, that's just more proof in the pudding that the concussion spotters, the medical personnel and whatnot, they're not doing their job. Maybe not. But to me, and I'm looking, I totally acknowledge my bias here. My Caps goggles are totally on. If after all that, he comes back, fact number 1, fact number 2, no penalty called. Fact number 3, no supplemental discipline applied by the league, means this was a legal hit. So if it's a legal hit, then all things considered, no harm, no foul.
Right.
That's not to say there might be long-term ramifications, but if the league were serious about that, they would address it more. They would do something about this. But that's something they have to handle. Okay. So, but as far as this play was concerned, legal hit, no problems.
Well, and I think if you saw it, I saw it. Robbie and I were going live and watching this, and at least trying to watch it and do a show at the same time, which is not always great when you have ADHD and you're trying to multitask. It's not a strength. But you have someone this size and the muscle mass of a number 8 coming at you, you're probably gonna get the wind knocked out of you. And so clean hit, but holy shit, it was a hell of a hit. And I think we all would have been kind of stumbling a little bit as well. So but that's what you get. I mean, it's, there's a Wilson Pain Train hit, and then there's an Ovechkin hit, which is like, I'm not going to say night and day, but they're huge and massive, and they're going to cause some damage, but not intentional damage, not a dirty hit like a Ryan Reeves would.
No, there was no intent to injure. I mean, these things happen. These things happen in the normal course of the game, and I want to take a few seconds here to throw up the virtual middle finger at certain so-called medical professionals that are trying to mete out their own branded justice by saying, well, hey, this is clear targeting. This was clear intent to injure. The game needs to change.
Bullshit.
Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, bullshit. Bullshit. Now, look, that's not to say I don't trust Gary Bettman and the league when it comes to player safety. Far from it. But they at least know more about how the game works than these so-called medical professionals that want to apply their own standard in a game they've never played before, that they don't know anything about how it works. So
Agree.
just want to put that out there. Anyway, so that was actually the turning point in the game, and that turned the game around. It kind of woke the Caps up. And it showed in the effort in this goal, because Hathaway, I think, was started by an Ovechkin shot, and then it was a loose puck on the rebound, and Hathaway dove for it and managed to nudge it in with the tip of his stick. So that got the Caps on the board. And then we mentioned him having his second of the goal, his first, and who else could we be talking about?
My Tommy.
His first came 3 minutes later, and it was a wrister assisted by Nick Backstrom and Dmitry Orlov. And we're going to fire up the old app here and run the replay. I will describe it for you thusly. Okay, so they win the faceoff. Looks like Orlov collects it at the point. Wilson and Backstrom kind of do a kind of a catch me if you can. Backstrom goes behind the net. Wilson jockeys for position, gets some space. Backstrom flings it from behind the net, and Wilson bangs it in off of the glove side of Sorokin and puts the Caps within one. Beauty. And so on to the third period we go, and TJ Oshie with his ninth ties it, 5:54 in the third, with his usual tip in from the slot area. And so it's off to OT we go, to the dreaded OT, but this is where Dmitry Orlov likes to shine. I like it when he gets the puck in OT, because twice now magical things can and will happen. And okay, so the play went like this. Milano I believe he started it, and then gets it to Oshie. Oshie gains the zone, and he does kind of the same thing Wilson and Backstrom did. They play a little catch, only it was at the top of the left circle. And Orlov had just enough space to blast it. Or the shot says wrist. I think it was stronger than a wrist shot. And C4 and I have talked about the merits of a Dmitry Orlov shot. This one had a lot of torque on it, and ended up in just the right place. 4:27 of overtime, game over. It's his second overtime winning goal of the season, out of his 3 goals. And so naturally, you got to make him the first star of the game. And as I posted, damn it, Orlov, you're the hero again. And he was. So the reason we're making this the feature is, as bad as the Vegas game was, everything good about the Caps came out in this game. Their resilience, their willingness to take the body,
right?
Their willingness to stick up for each other, and how they play as a team. And I don't, it's going to be hard to describe, because you look at the numbers and not really anything on paper. They really shouldn't have won this game.
True.
Because not a whole lot of the stats are in their favor.
No. Well, with shots on goal alone.
Yeah. Only shots on goal were they the better team, and only from the second period on.
Right. And that's what I mean. Like, just shots on goal in general, where again, it was another, not 60 minutes frustration. I do think there were some fans that put a little too much hype on 19 and 43 returning, that it was going to be, some epic thing. And it's like, come on, guys, give them
And I
Give
think
them a couple of games to, like, they did great, which is like fantastic to see that they're, Nikki gets an assist and Wilson scores, but it's like, come on, you can't put that kind of pressure on and just assume that it all comes down to those two guys being back on the ice, that everything's going to be perfect. It's like, that's just not how it works. But
yeah, I think that's been a problem. We discussed this last episode. I think the expectations are part of the problem in that I think too many people, both on the inside and the outside, expected this magical transformation.
mhm.
And it's just not to be. But like I said, they did well for themselves in this game,
Right.
and I think slowly but surely, they're getting back to the way they were. Next week, the next game is going to be a pretty good test in and of itself. We'll talk about previews of coming attractions later. But I like the way the team came together after the Ovechkin hit. I like the way that they decided to just knuckle down and play their game, even though it was, they waited until halfway through the game, probably the one thing they shouldn't do.
Mhm.
But I like the way they came together. And this is yet another example of when they do what they can do together, when they
Right.
when they grab a hold of that mentality
Yeah.
and they run with it. So everything we could have hoped for from Tommy and Nick, that was just a small part of this game.
Right.
If you think about it, it took a team effort to win. And, sometimes, as we've said so many times, sometimes they have to remind themselves of that fact. And just as quickly as they remember it, unfortunately, they tend to forget it.
Right.
Until
you can't do it consistently.
until the next time. So yeah,
Right.
it's the same old story. They got to find some consistency. But at least here, they fell behind, understood what they had to do, and executed. And they applied, the overall plan. So
Mhm.
we're spotlighting this game because as long as they play this way, then they can do some damage in the standings and hopefully the playoffs.
Mhm.
And that's the idea. So,
I agree.
yeah. Anyway, so I mentioned previews of coming attractions. Let's go ahead and get that out of the way. So the very next game next week, there's only 2 games next week. We're going to cover only 2 games next week because the third game is on a Sunday, again, smack in the middle of when we would record. But the next game is in Colorado. They finished the road trip in Colorado against the Avalanche at it's a 9 p.m. puck drop. And depending on who you talk to, they're starting to be a threat, even though right now they're sitting outside of the playoffs. But that's going to be a good test. And then the other game is back home at Cap One on Thursday, 7:00 puck drop against the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Mhm.
And those guys are also sitting on the outside of the playoffs, but they're starting to get hungry too.
Right.
So two pretty good games. I think they're both winnable, but they're going to have to bring their A game in each, I believe, to have a chance. This is not going to be anything where they can just sit back and let the magic take over. So
Agree. Especially on Thursday, because I'll be there.
actually Thursday, and that's right. You're going to be live and in color there.
Yes, I am.
And well, you know the drill. We need pics and or videos, and I'm sure you'll be coming at us with both.
Yes. I don't know about
And-
video. Well, video of the team, not of me, but yes,
Right.
I can do that happily. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It'll be we will be still in the hotel, but gonna scoot out for a couple hours for the game and looking forward to it. Regardless of who we're playing. It doesn't
Definitely.
matter. I'm not even gonna think about it.
Definitely. And hopefully we'll bring home the win there. But yeah, understand your seats are pretty good for that game. So looking forward to it.
Absolutely.
So that's and the next game after that is Sunday. As I said, it's they go back out on the road. It's Toronto. So we're actually going to wait till next week. We're going to record Saturday. So we're going to record Saturday to cover the two games, and that game will be covered alongside the game after that, which is end of January against the Columbus Blue Jackets, which will end the month and take us straight into the All-Star break. So we are probably going to be, I think the way it's going to shake out, because they don't go back out on the ice again until that next Friday, the 11th.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Oh, right. And there's going to be, so and the next game after that is back home against San Jose. That's a matinee game, so we'll be able to cover that one. So a couple of light shows coming up, but like I said, we'll make a decision on. I'm toying with the idea of perhaps maybe a simulcast with Sports on the Hill, is what I'm thinking of. I'll talk to Robbie about that. See if he's willing to help with the arrangements on that. This will be probably the first time he's hearing this, unless I can get with him later. It's got as you well know, got a lot of life going on, a lot of stuff to take care of, a lot of stuff that's been happening. So, got to catch up on that, and But rest assured, we'll continue our coverage one way or the other, at least in the upcoming weeks. So that's it for the on-ice action. Just one last quick little hockey note.
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned the power play and how it really, really, really needs to be fixed.
Oh yeah, well, right. You had a possible solution.
I have a possible solution, and well, I think this is a win-win for all the parties involved. It so happened that, fortunately, well, definitely unfortunately, you never want to see anybody fired, but unfortunately, earlier in the day, our old friend Gabby, Bruce Boudreau, was relieved of his duties as the head coach of the Vancouver Canucks. Mm-hmm. So he is without job, unfortunately, as of right now. Well, here's my idea. No, as much as it's been called for, and I'm not inclined to disagree, doesn't necessarily mean we replace Laviolette or even Blaine Forsyth with Mr. Boudreau. But I say what the organization ought to do, or what they would do if I had any say over it, hire Bruce as a consultant. And that way, and well, bring him on home to where his pro coaching and management career actually started.
True.
And this is how it's a win-win for everybody. That brings him home to, again, where it started, and also brings him a lot closer to his management to his juniors team in Hershey. So he can keep a lot better and closer eye on that. Mm-hmm. And Bruce is already, he's always said he's loved the area, loved being around here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And people love him.
And people love him. People here still love him, and he gets to be close to the team again. And there's still, there's guys that, that actually, started their careers with him. John Carlson, for one. Of course, Ovechkin knows him. And I'm pretty sure also Dmitry Orlov as well. So a lot of the old guard that's still here, they'll appreciate what he has to offer. And he can't do anything but improve the offense and the power play. And since he would be just a consultant, he's got no obligation. Probably the management probably let him make his own hours, no stress. And again, I think it's a win-win for everybody if they do that. It keeps him in the game, and he gets to go back to where it all started. And I think that'd be the great thing.
I actually think that's a fantastic idea. Yeah. Look at you
So-
thinking outside the box.
Yeah, I think that's something they ought to do. Will they do it? I don't know. Probably not. And depending on what his salary was, I don't know if taking a consulting gig would forfeit that. So I don't know. I don't know if he'd be willing to do that, but I think it's a win-win for everybody. But that's just me.
Okay. Go, Gil.
Anyway, all right. So that's all of the on ice action. So we've come to so we're going to continue on since still 2023, and the economy is still.
Yeah.
We're going to continue on with another week of our spotlight of local business, courtesy of our loyal listeners and followers. And so we're going to do the spotlight we're going to put on this week is a business owned by one of our loyal listeners and friends, Mr. Lorenzo Robinson. We had him on last year for Black History Month.
Yep.
And Lorenzo, if you don't remember, is a loyal fan. He has a VIP package, owner of a VIP package season ticket with the Washington Capitals, and is an Air Force veteran.
Yep.
And
Has a
also
fantastic smile.
And a fantastic smile, a fantastic voice. And unfortunately, the plan was actually to have him on so that he could talk up his business. But unfortunately, today he was feeling quite a bit under the weather and said his voice was quite a bit hoarse. So he couldn't pony himself up to be on the show. And so that would have been that would have been the ideal, but in his stead, we'll go ahead and talk up his business for him. And it's the name of the company is HLR Courier and Shuttle, LLC. And his business actually shares something in common with the King, Elvis Presley. They were both born on January the 8th. And specifically January the 8th, 2008. Sorry. So he just celebrated 15 years business ownership about a week and a half ago.
Very cool.
And so, yes, it's, as you can imagine, it's a courier and shuttle business. Now, what the services that they provide, they mainly provide services mainly regarding very important documents. So just to give a rundown of the examples that Lorenzo provided: property deed runs, business filings with Maryland SDAT, civil process servicing, all throughout the state. This is all throughout the state, the District of Columbia, and Northern Virginia. So basically the DMV, civil court filings, mail runs between business offices, e-commerce, and other package deliveries. So basically, if it's important as far as a legal document or other important document like that, he's your man. Anywhere inside of the main DMV area, he will make sure it gets to where it needs to be. And we'll be posting his business logo on our Facebook page and his contact information alongside it. He did want me to let everybody know the business hours are Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. He does offer after-hours servicing that's available for a nominal fee. He promises same-day delivery, end-of-day shuttle, 4-hour standard, and 2 hours rush delivery service is also offered. So again, you need something in the way of an important document, anything business related. He's your man, because he will make sure he gets it there. And he's posted on his personal page, he's posted many a time where he's had to figure out how to get around traffic snafus. And as we all know in the DMV, traffic,
they're everywhere.
Bad traffic rears its ugly head a lot. But he knows the area so well that he can get around it, and it's never any problem. And I actually know where he's coming from, because long ago, back in the day, in a whole other life, I used to do something like this, mainly with newspapers. And yeah, it's a hard job. It's not a fun job, and it's tough. Somebody might look at it and say, well, all you doing is driving. Well, negotiating traffic and speed limits and that kind of thing, making sure your cargo's okay, that ain't exactly easy. And sometimes the hours can be tough. So I 1000% respect the job that he does, and every review I've ever read, every contact that's mentioned the business has had nothing but glowing reviews to say. So again, if you've got something of the utmost importance that needs to get from here to there within the DMV, then Lorenzo Robinson is your man. And I know, as as a solid citizen, he will make sure that you are done right. And he's built this business by himself from the ground up, and made it what it is today, all by himself practically. And you gotta respect that. And he's made it one of the best independent delivery services in the area. So if you want more information, I can put you in touch with him if you'd like. If you're listening, going to post that information on the show page, the show notes, and the Facebook page as well. And of course, if you're part of the Facebook page, you can DM him. He also runs the DMV Caps Facebook page, so you can join that group as well and contact him there.
Awesome.
Okay, so that's our spotlight for the small business. And again, we're doing that because no two ways about it. The economy sucks. All right, and it's nobody's fault. Depending on where you want to look at it, but that's why we're doing this. We want to give a leg up to businesses that don't have the backing of gazillions of dollars of corporate money, and are mainly local. Doesn't have to be in the DMV, but if it's a business that you believe in, you as a Caps fan, and they're either have the backing of a Caps fan, or are just good people in general, we'll talk about them, and we'll speak as well as we can about them, and get the word out as best as we can.
Yes, we will.
Okay. All right. So that is everything we had to cover for this week. Hopefully next week will be an even better week, with the Caps being above 500. Like I said, there's some games in there they probably should win, some tougher games, and then the All-Star break coming up. So Mermaid, do you plan on being with us on the Sports on the Hill tomorrow night?
I am. I'm going to do tomorrow, and then I'm going to be off with both shows next week because of the hotel situation.
Yeah, I totally get that, and that's that's pretty dicey. So beyond that, you're going to be incommunicado though, and that's I'm sure that'll make things difficult. But
yeah, it's just an inconvenience, and I don't know.
Cluster F, yeah.
It is. So, and I don't know what internet will be like, and I just don't want to have one of those things. So it's just like better to just, give my week or two notice and say, all right, hey, listen, this is where we're going to be, or dealing with whatever outside of the Knox home. And and then hopefully it'll be all good, and we'll get the kitchen back.
Yep. Hopefully so. Okay. Well, so with that, we're going to sign off. So this is the Blue Liner on Point signing off, and reminding you that poop jokes aren't my favorite kind of joke, but they are a solid number 2.
No.
Hallelujah, and let's go Caps.
Go Caps.
This has been another episode of the Power Play Point Podcast. All episodes are available from Apple Podcasts, the Podbean app, blueliner77.podbean.com, and now available from Stitcher. Music by Joe McAllister, voiceover by Jeffrey Conkle.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good night, Power Play Point Podcast. Thanks for listening.